Heyo, welcome into CHGO Bets Daily, presented by DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook. Use the promo code CHGO when you sign up. Download the app today and start enjoying the wonderful, wonderful app. It is top-rated for a reason, folks. I'm Sean Anderson. You can follow me on Twitter at Sean_W_Anderson. Alongside me, as always, is Cody Delmendo. You can follow him on Twitter at Cody_CHGO. And we are very excited to bring you some Black Friday bets, a remote version of CHGO Bets Daily. And with it being Black Friday, we do have our own deal here at CHGO. You get up to 50% off basically the whole store. We do have some brand new releases that Cody was wondering about in Slack. So some items weren't on sale. We got some brand new releases like the DeMar King of the Fourth Quarter shirt, and also the legendary Hosa shirt as well. That's in guest studio Marion Hosta shirt as well. So you can go check those out. But all the hoodies are about like $40. So, usually around $54.99 on the website, down to $40. So you can get 2 hoodies for about $80. Great Christmas deal. So definitely go check out the website. There's no code. You just go get the deal automatically. And diehards too. If you are a member already, you get 20% off. So if you are looking to get even an extra, like 70% off, if you're not a member yet, go to allchgo.com, become a diehard, get the 20% off. Also on top of
today
the
is
Black
a day
deal.
where
today you get a free shirt too if you sign up to be a diehard. So
if you sign up to be this is the perfect day to sign up to be a diehard. You sign up to be a diehard, you automatically get a free shirt, and then you're gonna get your money back. You get your money back basically today if you go and you get all our merch on Black Friday. Like, you get your money back before the end of the weekend. Just the perfect time to sign up.
Well, and we're gonna help you get the money back too, because we'll help you with the Christmas money with bets. Let's get into the bank. I think we still have a turkey up for Cody. I'm up to $100. Thanks, BetSync.
Yeah, thank you, BetSync. Ooh. Also, oh man, I need to stop live betting.
No boy.
I need to stop live betting.
Is that this mood today?
Yeah.
A little rough Thanksgiving live betting. The real bad Daniel. Thank you, Sarah. It's a question mark for Cody today on the bank. What did Daniel Jones beating you on that over hurt or on the spread hurt?
Oh no, Daniel Jones saved some of my Thanksgiving. Shout out to Daniel Jones for saving Thanksgiving. I had Giants +10, and they just scored the most meaningless touchdown of all time with 12 seconds to go yesterday afternoon to cover the 10. I honestly feel kind of bad for Cowboys bettors because it was just a brutal beat if you took the Cowboys. But no, I keep live betting college basketball. I need to stop. Thank you.
Oh boy, yeah.
Yeah.
On Thanksgiving,
I live bet Sienna this morning. That was a dumb idea.
Cody,
what am I doing?
What are you doing? Hey, I got to stop betting World Cup. I went 0 for 2 this morning.
You riding USA money line +650 like everyone else is?
I'm riding our good old buddy. Oh, thank you, Sarah. Our good old buddies at DraftKings had a boost for USA to score a goal, so it was a -150 for them to just score a goal. They had a boost today for a super boost for them to score a goal at +150. So they don't need to win at all. I thought there were actually going to be a ton of goals so far, and through 51 minutes, no goals.
No goals.
Woo! We love these powerhouses of soccer.
But they're in the game, though. That's like as big a dog as they were. They're in the game right now. Is a good time to hop on USA.
Are they still +650?
I don't know.
Okay.
I haven't bet any World Cup. I'm just saying, I've seen a lot of people say that they were taking USA today because they're representing their country for that reason alone. And I'm like, fair.
That's a bad reason. No, that's a bad reason.
It's a bad reason.
You should bet smartly. Bet responsibly.
You want to ride your country? Fine.
But they've never given you a reason to support them. They've always stunk.
Yeah.
They've never been a good soccer team, at least in our lifetime. And I'm now 25. They've had a couple shots here. They've had about what's 24 divided by 4? 6. They've had 6 chances, and one time I don't even think they made it. But yeah, I bet Qatar. I like this one bet. I'm learning how to bet soccer. I had this one bet that I liked. Obviously, it lost. But Qatar plus half a goal. So it wasn't +1, but it's half a goal. So if they draw, I win. But if they win, I also win. So like that kind of gives you a little bit of a cushion. They lost 3-1, so it didn't matter to me. But then I also had Wales to score a goal, and they couldn't even do that against Iran. So that's the fun of it. But I did have a nice Thanksgiving. Jamal Williams, first touchdown scorer, $10 hit on nice. DraftKings. That was 95, so that boosted the bank up. And then there was a free bet parlay that the Slack gets to know about. And that went into the Christmas fund. That doesn't need to be on the bank. That was a fun one that I just clicked 3 teams, Cody. I shared the 3 picks on the last show we did, but I didn't say I was going to parlay them. I did. Should have gave a pick out because it was a nice return.
Yeah, the Bills had the under in the Bills Lions game. It hit barely. I got it at 54.5. It finished at 53. And then I had the Giants plus 10. Shout out to Daniel Jones. And then I was just not going to bet the last game because I felt like the public was coming in strong on the Patriots. I felt like it was kind of a trap. And then I did it anyway, which was dumb. But the Patriots actually played better than I even expected. So whatever.
I mean, honestly, I think if you look back at that bet, like if you're going to trust anything about a Bill Belichick team, it would be that the special teams are going to be aces.
Right. They're going to special teams ruined it for them yesterday. Like Mac Jones had the game of his life, and you got the classic primetime Kirk with throwing a pick early in that game. But I thought the Patriots defense played well enough to where they could have won that game. But if I don't know, if I were to go back, I probably would have just not played it just because no one, like, I don't think anyone thought that Mac Jones was going to play like that yesterday.
No.
If I were to go back and just place a bet, I would have just bet on Kirk Cousins to throw a pick. That's what I would have bet. But whatever. I wanted something.
Fading him's a great idea.
Yeah. Listen, like, he's having probably his best year of his career, but like, I do not like betting on him in prime time. And so I took the experienced coach coming off 4 days, and it just didn't work out. But is what it is. I thought the under was a lock. That pretty much hit.
All 3. No. Did it go 2 for 1 yesterday? Because the Bills Lions went over. It went over. But that still was close, and that was in the 50s.
Yeah.
For a Thursday night game, if a Thursday night game's in a 50s, I mean, that's a powerhouse game. I mean, if that Bills Lions game was on a Thursday night, that'd be the best Thursday night game in years. Yeah. If that Cowboys game, honestly, I think, was even on Thursday night.
Last night's game, between the Vikings and the Patriots, probably was the best Thursday night game of the year, considering the points that were scored. It closed at 42, and it hit in the third quarter. So there was, again, the reason it was so low is like no one thought Mac Jones would go in there and throw for over 300 yards passing. Like it was an entertaining game, but it is what it is. So back on the saddle today. I had the over. I tweeted this out earlier. I took the over in Texas Baylor. It just hit a few minutes ago, and I took Bijan Robinson rushing again. Went over. He's got 145 yards rushing. He's gonna be my favorite running back in the draft. He's gonna be, because he just won me so much money this year. So.
Well, here's the thing too. I do want to mention this before, I'll share my draft takes in November because everyone's asking for them. But with the Bears having a top 3 pick right now, I know people are like saying there's not really a wide receiver worth that pick, but that doesn't mean that they can't find like good wide receivers. Because like watching this year's college football, like the second and third round will be littered with guys that you and I have just seen each and every, like Hyatt from Tennessee. That kid's going to go to the second and third round. I know he can get open, there's a lot of those guys that are just like college stars that I don't think it's impossible for one of those to become an NFL guy. Like, so I think it could be a fun second and third round for the Bears, especially wide receiver wise. So go get a stud defensive guy or go get a stud lineman, and then hey, you can go get your wide receivers and weapons in the second and third round.
Absolutely. So, but yeah, no, I today I just hit an under on Wisconsin USC and basketball. Won by a point. It was a sweat. It ended right before the show started. What a ride it was. But yeah, no, it's nice to be able to get college football today and tomorrow.
Yeah.
So they kind of spread it out. I wish they would do it like this every week. That way we wouldn't be so consumed with it all at one time. I'd love it all on Friday and Saturday at this point. Or just give us more football on Sundays too, but they don't want to compete with the NFL.
Right. And no one would go to the games, Sundays at 11,
fair.
So that's I think that's the thing. Like, those kids have to go to school. They're the young minds that need to be educated.
Yeah. I just like having these 11 to 9 p.m. slates of college football back-to-back days. So right. I'll take if I can get it one day a year or 1 weekend a year, that's fine. And if it's this weekend, that's great.
It's weird though, because I don't think I have. I'm looking at my bet. I don't think I have a ton of bets for today's college football slate. Like, it's just a weird day to get like a gauge on. I don't know. Like, I liked Tulane earlier, but I didn't pull the trigger on it. And I think I pulled the trigger on Central Michigan live, but I think they're losing right now to Eastern. So I don't know. It's just it's a messy day. Oh, I do have Florida State. We'll get into it. Let's get into it. DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, is my go-to when betting on the NFL this holiday season. Yesterday would have been a even better day for the Christmas fund if this one would have hit. I had two different parlays in the Giants-Cowboys game that almost made that Christmas fun. Very, very nice, Cody. Giants plus 10.5 hit. Thank you, Daniel Jones. Micah Parsons sacks 2+. Thank you very much, Micah Parsons. I knew he was going to have a nice day. I could just say, I could just picture in my head he eating that turkey leg, being the MVP for the Cowboys on that day. But then the under 45.5, as we talked about a little bit earlier, that didn't hit. So, the Christmas fund didn't grow. But then again, I had a different parlay because I love doing a little holiday parlay. Well, it's Thanksgiving. Just sit and watch football the whole day. Micah Parsons, 2+ sack, bingo. Dallas Cowboys, 3+ sacks, bingo. And then Giants to lose a fumble. I got too cute with it. I was thinking they were going to strip sack Daniel Jones. That didn't happen, and the Christmas fund did not get any bigger. But it's a lot of fun. It makes the game a little bit more entertaining. So if you're watching this big college football slate today and tomorrow, or if you're watching on Sunday and Monday, use the DraftKings Sportsbook app, and new customers can bet just $5 on any NFL team to win their game and get $150 in free bets if they do. So if you think the Jets are going to smoke, the Trevor Siemian-led Bears, place $5 down on it. Jets win. You get $150 in free bets. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use code CHGO. Place any $5 bet on any NFL team to win their game and get $150 in free bets if they do. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook with code CHGO. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. All right, Cody, let's get into your first bet.
Okay. So today, all right, I guess what we have up here is for tomorrow. But I guess for a game tonight, I will say that I kind of like Florida to cover the 10, just because it's a rivalry game, and Florida's coming off that bad loss to Vanderbilt. Florida State, like they are very good, but in a rivalry game, 10 points seems like a lot to me. I think Florida's going to come out there and give you their best effort of the year. They've shown that they can do that. They got a dual quarterback. Anthony Richardson's not bad. But also the quarterback for Florida State's very good too. I don't know. I lean Florida just because I think it's too many points. But that's just my little sprinkle on that one. I also like the under in Iowa and Nebraska today, just because Nebraska stinks and Iowa's defense is good, but who's going to score points? I think Iowa beat Minnesota 14-10 last week.
I think you could have just said Iowa and Nebraska. I think people would just know the bet would be under.
Yeah.
I don't even think you would actually
38.5. That's the total. This game kicks off in 40 minutes.
Hey, Cody, I got $10. I have 9 bets, I think it is. I have my 10th bet. Let's ride. Under 38.5.
Under 38.5.
Nebraska and Iowa.
I think what you're going to see from this game is either Iowa will actually score points, but they're not going to allow Nebraska to score any points. So say Iowa scores 28 and
24.
Nebraska maybe gets a field goal. And even if Nebraska scores one time today, I still think the under hits, just because Iowa is I don't feel confident in their offense putting up 20 points, let alone 2 touchdowns. You know what I mean? So,
but even if they do, 2017 hits, right?
Yeah.
So let's roll. Let's roll, baby. And I do want to let's talk Ohio State, Michigan. Let's get into
Yeah,
that.
let's go into
Ohio State.
tomorrow. Yeah,
You have
tomorrow. Okay, so this is all pending that Blake Corum and Donovan Edwards don't play. And right now, Jim Harbaugh hasn't given really an update. So I don't know. But if they don't play, then I will absolutely take Ohio State -8. I kind of lean I want to take the over because the game went over last year, but I think the under will be in play, especially if those guys don't play. But if they do play, then I do like the over. But again, like we don't have an update right now. Like that's what's hard about betting this Ohio State Michigan game. I think Corum and Edwards are such a big part of that Michigan offense. And if they don't play, I think Ohio State has the revenge game after what happened last year in Columbus, in the Horseshoe, and beat the Wolverines, especially with how Michigan played against Illinois after Corum got hurt last week. I don't know how anyone can have any confidence in Michigan, even keeping it within single digits if Corum and Edwards don't play. And I know this is a rivalry game, and I understand that like these teams have basically been preparing for this for weeks. But Corum's a Heisman candidate for a reason. So right. I think even though the running back situation for Ohio State isn't exactly great either, CJ Stroud he's in the Heisman race too, and he's going to play. And again, I think this is a big revenge spot for Ohio State, a team that has honestly dominated this series over the years until last season. I think they get the revenge tomorrow. I'd love for it to come down to 7 so I can perhaps maybe push just in case. But again, this is all pending Corum and Edwards' health. If they play, then I'm going to probably take the over and stay away from the spread, maybe live bet the spread. But if they play. But if they don't play, I'm taking Ohio State -8. And honestly, the moment you hear that it comes out, you better take that bet because then the spread will probably increase in Ohio State's favor.
Yeah, so I'm going to go and say definitely stay away from the over. You could see down there, Michigan, Ohio State under 57.5. This is something that I got. This was the first bet I made. When this line posted, I took under 57.5. The numbers have this as a 55-point game. And one of the early projections had this being, I think, about even 11 points under 57. So what? The line should have been around like 48. So that's what some projections were. So this, I think, is a great value at 57.5 because of the exact same reasons you were giving. Blake Corum, if he doesn't play, that offense isn't going to do anything. Ohio State's defense doesn't have to have a great day. They can just do exactly what they did against, I wouldn't want to say Penn State, but, some of these lower level teams. Michigan without Blake Corum is bad. Like JJ McCarthy facing any pressure will crumble. I think Ohio State will dominate this game. You talked about the rivalry aspect. Ryan Day isn't going to have a losing record in this game. Jim Harbaugh has had a losing record. It was a miracle that he got this win. This is for the playoff. If Ryan Day doesn't win this game, I don't know if he's going to be on the hot seat, but it's going to be uncomfortable in Columbus until he wins another one. And even then, I don't know. Like that's a risky thing to just lose to Michigan.
Right.
I think that's something
2 years in a row. Yeah.
Something he'd want to snap really easily. So I see this being a blowout. I would love to be on that Ohio State -8 side, but I feel a lot more comfortable just taking the under because I see this being a 24-3 game, a 24-10 game. I see this as the little brother being pushed back by the big brother. You beat him once, like in basketball, and then he really wasn't trying. He was hungover. It was in the dark. He really couldn't see the rim. But any other situation, the older brother's going to win. I'll take Ohio State in the Horseshoe.
Yeah. Now, listen, if Edwards plays, Donovan Edwards ain't no joke either. He hasn't been talked about enough because Corum's been so great. But I think if one of them plays, then again, I like the over just based off what I watched last year between these two teams. And that game, like the weather conditions were awful in that game went over. Like Michigan won last year because they were able to run the ball down Ohio State's throats. That's basically what happened. So, and once Ohio State got down, they threw the ball. And like, we already know they can throw the ball. So like, I could see there being points in this game again, if those two guys play. And we're just not going to know until like 10 a.m. tomorrow. So that's the only way that I take the over. The only way, because I just think that, yeah, Michigan's defense has been very good all year, but they also haven't played Ohio State. And Ohio State.
But Ohio State really hasn't been Ohio State. Like, Ohio State put up, 40, but not really that impressively against Maryland.
Yeah.
Like, I
but
don't
also
see either team
Ohio
scoring
State
30.
also gave up a ton of points to Maryland too. Like, it's to me, like, I could see it being like one of those, I don't want to say a shootout, but I mean, in college football, 57 or whatever it's at now, you said you got the beginning of the week. I'm sure it's came down since then. Like,
I think it's at 56 though. I mean, it's only come down a point and a half.
Just a point.
I'd still play 56.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I just think that, again, if those guys are healthy, I think that there's a good chance it goes over, just based off what I remember from last year and watching that game and how that they played that game. But that was at Michigan's pace, Michigan's tempo in that game. But that, I think Michigan, even with Corum this year, I don't think their offense is as good as it was last year. So maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But I lean more towards the spread, and it's only if Corum and Edwards play. If Corum and Edwards play, maybe I would then take Michigan, but I'm leaning towards that they're probably not going to play. I don't know what's the good side of Michigan playing those guys to begin with. If they don't play, then how much does it affect their college football playoff implications and stuff like that?
Well, they got to win this game. I mean, they win this game, they're, it's such an easy road for them. They just got to win the Big Ten game, Big Ten championship. And this game's going to be harder than that game. Because you're going to play Iowa.
Yeah,
you've already played Iowa, and that was the easiest game you played on your schedule. Let's get to some of these other bets. You brought up Florida State. I'm going to go and actually take the other side on you. You can get a profit boost on the line on DraftKings right now.
Yeah.
Bet either side of the Florida versus Florida State game, and it's boosted by 25%. I had Florida State. Sorry, this says plus 10. I put that's my bad. It's minus 10. Florida State is the favorite. I had Florida State minus 9.5, but that was at minus 120. So then old DraftKings said, hey, we'll give you Florida State plus 10 at plus 113. I love that. You bring up, it's a rivalry game and that these games are usually close, but it's not really the case. So the last single digit outcome between these two games, is the last single digit final spread, was in 2021. Cody, when was the next single digit spread between these two teams?
I'm not sure. I know that
2006.
Yeah, it's been a while.
21-14 Florida State. So I just think that the role that Florida State's been on, they're going to kill Florida. They've been killing teams, and Florida just got killed by Vandy. So I think Florida State's going to have their way. And also, too, like you bring up last year's game with Michigan and Ohio State and how that might carry over. But, I mean, it's college football. We saw with Spencer Rattler. I mean, that guy stunk for 3 years of his college career. And then he plays Tennessee, and he's like, it was that Drew Brees, Eli Manning game in the Superdome. I mean, like, he couldn't miss. So, hey, weird shit happens. Hey, I mean, maybe Blake Corum and Edwards doesn't play and they still win by double digits. You never know. But I just think Florida State's been on such a roll. So I really like that side, especially at plus money.
Yeah. No, again, it's more of a sprinkle. I don't even know if I'll play it, but I lean Florida just because they're coming off such a bad loss to Vanderbilt. And I like Bill Napier. I think he's a good coach. He was a good coach at Louisiana Lafayette. Like, I think that he'll have them come out and at least show some fight. Maybe take the first half spread. I don't fucking know. I just feel like 10 points is a lot for a Florida team that I just don't believe in Florida State, I guess, as much. I do think Florida State wins. I just think 10 points is a lot for a rivalry game and a Florida team that has a lot to play for, in my opinion. But again, it's more of a lean. I don't even know if I'm gonna play it, but we'll see. It's one of those. It's that time of year where just like honestly, a lot of shit doesn't matter. It comes down to like how much these teams want it more sometimes. Like, for instance, in this, we can transition to the next pick. Like, I like Auburn tomorrow, plus 22 against Alabama in the Iron Bowl. I think that, first off, it's weird because like I've been fading Auburn all year, but since they fired their coach, they've won 2 of their last 3. They've covered their last 3 games. What does Alabama really have to play for? Like, sure, like they could potentially, maybe, be able to find themselves in that college football playoff if USC and TCU and LSU all lose this weekend, right? Like, and if they win, right? Like they I guess they potentially could. But like, what have we seen from this Alabama team all year where you feel great about them with a 22-point spread? Like I don't like the receivers for Alabama. Bryce Young's great. He's going to be a top 2 pick in the draft, but I don't like the receivers they got. And they've just been very underwhelming, honestly, all season. They almost lost to Ole Miss. Like, I don't know. I don't know about 22 points at least.
Yeah, if it was 20, if it was 20 and a half, I'd take it. 22 is just a weird number, so I'd avoid it. I'm staying away from that one.
I don't blame you, but again, I like watching the Iron Bowl every year. I know those two teams hate each other. Those fan bases hate each other. So I want to have some lean in it, and I just think Auburn's gonna mess around and lose by 14 instead of 3 touchdowns. You know what I mean? So yeah. We'll see. So I like Auburn plus 22 against Alabama, and maybe I'm wrong about Alabama and not really having much to play for in this game. Maybe Saban is gonna, because again, Alabama is not playing the SEC championship game this year. They don't look like they're going to the college football playoff unless they win this game, and then those 3 teams I already mentioned lose. So to me, it's kind of like, how much do they care outside of it just being a rivalry game? So who knows?
I mean, it could just be Bryce Young and Will Anderson's last game in an Alabama uniform, so maybe they just want to go out on top and maybe make a good impression just in case all that stuff gets loose. Let's go to one of my picks because you mentioned TCU losing. Iowa State's got a good defense, folks. I like Iowa State plus 10 just because Iowa State, in their losses in the Big 12, I think they have 6 losses, or I think they have 6 losses this year. A point differential in those 6 losses of 24. They've lost those games by an average of 4 points. So you're giving me a 6-point cushion basically there with that spread. And TCU, they've been good, but not great in the past couple of weeks. And Baylor almost gave it to them. And I just think that TCU almost did it to Texas in Austin. I think Iowa State could replicate what they did and just make it a hellacious last week for TCU. I don't like them to pull the upset, but I like them to cover 10. So give me Iowa State plus 10. I think that one gets a little murky.
Yeah, I do like that Iowa State defense, Bo. Are they going to score points? That's a big question. But also this TCU defense slowed down Texas a few weeks ago. And Texas has been one of those, they've been a powerhouse in terms of offense this year, right?
Right. 17-7 hits,
Yeah.
Like they just got to keep them under 20, I feel. And I think they can do that.
Yeah. No, I think that's a solid play. And Iowa State has a lot to play for. I think in terms of their coach and all that kind of stuff. But I think that's like the big thing with this whole week is like, on what games you're betting, do those teams have something to play for? And I think both those teams, obviously TCU does, and I think Iowa State does too. So I think like they can hang around.
With TCU and Iowa State, I don't think they can even go bowling. Yeah, they're only at 4 wins, so they can't go bowling. But I think just having all of those losses be so close and almost do it to Texas and almost do it to Kansas State and almost do it to Baylor. Like, I just think, and even Kansas, that game where Kansas was rolling hot and they barely won 14-11. Like, I just think they probably would love to, if this is their last game of the season, all these seniors, their last game under Matt Campbell, hey, let's go upset number 4 TCU undefeated. Let's go hand them their first loss. I think it's possible. I definitely can see it being crazy like that.
It would really shake up the Big 12. So, I mean, I'm all for that.
It would shake up something too. I like Oregon State money line at plus 130. They're going up against Oregon. Watching that Bo Nix performance against Utah didn't give me a lot of comfort. And Oregon State's got a good pass defense, and they have a good enough offense to, I think, outperform what Cam Rising did. I think it's also in Corvallis too. You saw USC go into Corvallis. that was murky. I really like their ability to protect their home field, a huge rivalry game. I think Oregon State wants to say, hey, a lot of people have been sleeping on us this year, but we might have been the best team in Oregon in the Pac-12. I know it might be a little bit crazy to say that, but they've really been rolling as of late. So I think they might want to make a statement here. So I like Oregon State plus 130 to upset the Ducks.
I like that play. Rivalry game once again. And they also played really well against Washington. They didn't win that game, but I believe they covered. And that was
3-point game.
Washington. Yeah,
that was in the river in the sky.
Yeah,
that was when it was like 40-mile-per-hour winds, like 6 feet of rain. No, like that was a crazy game.
Yeah. No, that's just to the point of, they've been in a lot of games, and what they did against USC is still pretty impressive considering what I watched USC do last week against UCLA. So, in Oregon, they beat Utah last week. They lost, but they lost the week before in a shootout. Last week's game wasn't much of a shootout. I had the over last week, didn't even come close. And I think it's going to be time possession. Whoever wins that game owns time possession and is able to, there's, I don't know. Time possession is definitely the big key. That's all I know for sure. So, I do like Oregon State there at home +3 +120. I like that. I like either or. Take both. Honestly, I could see them winning that game.
We do have some breaking news too. Nebraska is going to be hiring Matt Rule, so maybe Nebraska's going to be all fired up to score some points or possibly upset the Hawkeyes coming up. So that news just coming out right before their game. Let's go again to another upset here. I had them last week. I mentioned them, I think, the week before that too. Vanderbilt money line. I like them at +400. I don't think Tennessee's got it. Tennessee just lost Hendon Hooker to a torn ACL. They're done. It's not like an Alabama situation. They just gave up 63 points to South Carolina. That team has to be demoralized. There's nothing Josh Heupel can do. That was just a awful loss because you couldn't do anything on defense, and your superstar Heisman candidate out for the season. That team's done. Vandy at +400. I would take this at +250. I would take this at +180. I would take this at +120. I would take this at -110. Vanderbilt's winning this football game. Give me it.
I mean, +400, it's juicy and you like it and all that. You want a safe bet. The 14, I'm surprised. That's the one thing I'm surprised about is that they're 14-point dogs. Like,
and you're sitting at 14.5 for a bit too. You could have gotten the hook.
Right. Like Joe Milton or whatever his name is, like I've watched him before and nowhere near what Hendon Hooker is. So like, I don't know what the books are thinking here. If there's one safe play, I'd love the over at 63.5 based off what you just said about what the defense did against South Carolina. And they're going up against Vanderbilt, who, like I said earlier, is coming off beating Florida, right? So that they're coming in feeling really good about themselves. So I like Vandy to cover that 14, and I like the over just because that Tennessee defense is so bad, and also I'm sure Tennessee will find a way to get some points up too, just because of how Heupel plays as a coach and everything. Related to that, I like South Carolina +14 against Clemson. In-state rivalry game. South Carolina coming off the win against Tennessee. Clemson, how much do they have really to play for, in my opinion, except for maybe the ACC championship game? I think they're already going to be in the ACC championship game. So how much do they really care outside of the fact that it's a rivalry game? I don't know. But again, Clemson has been a very underwhelming team all season. They haven't really impressed. Their quarterback is sus. He had one game where I was like, oh, this guy could be something for them, and that was against a really bad Wake Forest defense. But you give me 14.5 with South Carolina coming off a big win against Tennessee. And honestly, they're not even that bad of a team anyway. They're going to go to a bowl game, I'm pretty sure. So like 14.5 against Clemson in a rivalry game, it's kind of how I feel about this Tennessee Vandy game. Like, that's a lot of points for something like this where I think there's a lot to play for here for South Carolina.
I like your reasoning, but it's in Death Valley, right?
Yeah.
That's a different Tennessee compared to Clemson. It's a different force, I think. I mean, that's Dabo. That's the Dabo machine. They have things to play for in the college football playoff. Their quarterback isn't hurt, and Spencer Rattler ain't doing that again. I don't know. I think whatever the South Carolina team total under, I think I might take that. But still, maybe Clemson's. I mean, we've seen a lot of close games with Clemson.
They're already going to the ACC championship game, as in Clemson. Like, I don't know. Like, to me, I don't feel like they care too much about this game. So that's why I feel like South Carolina.
But a two-loss team won't go in. If a one-loss ACC champion compared to like a TCU team with one loss, like I could see Clemson possibly sneaking in, especially if USC loses. Like if USC gets upset by Notre Dame, you have plus 4.5 there. I wouldn't mind people taking Notre Dame money line. This is a huge game for Notre Dame. Notre Dame has proven that they've been able to stop some of these big programs like Clemson this year with their run game, and their run game's been fantastic versus the ACC. Will that transfer over versus a Power 5 school like USC? I don't know. As an Irish fan who is scarred by the Matt Leinart Bush push, I'm not betting this game. I'm not putting anything into this game. I don't know if I want to turn on this game. I hate USC. I hate USC so much that I don't even want to give them my energy because I just know because of that game, Brady Quinn had the perfect season. It was lined up for us, Cody. And then they revolutionized football. Now you see this every Sunday. They motion the tight end and then they push him. I mean, Reggie Bush cheated, in my opinion, and I hate him. So I'm not betting on Notre Dame, but I like your pick.
I like Notre Dame plus 4.5 because I think they'll be able to control the clock in the run game. I mean, I watched that entire USC UCLA game last week. USC's defense stinks, bro. It stinks. The USC is going to have to go up against a much better defense this week, and that game against UCLA, that's their rivalry game. Honestly, I mean, this is a rivalry game too, right? But that game against UCLA. Like, I just cannot envision USC putting up a performance like that in back-to-back weeks. You want to say play Sean to bet on this? Michael Mayer, receiving yards or help to catch a touchdown over just to score one touchdown at plus 135 for him. They love their tight ends, and USC's defense stinks, right? Like, I think that he can have a big day against USC tomorrow. So yeah, I'm going to ride with the Irish on this one just because they've kind of been that team when they're an underdog this year where they have kind of been like, oh, this Notre Dame team's not that bad. But clearly this is the best team that they've had to face outside of Ohio State week 1. But I think this Notre Dame team is a lot different than it was week 1 of the season. So I'm going to take the Irish at plus, again, 4.5. You give me the field goal and an extra 1.5. So I like that because I think this game will be close. I think Notre Dame's defense is going to be able to keep them in games. The only thing that kind of scares me is, it's on the road. It's at USC. It's senior day for USC. And obviously it's big college football playoff implications, right? So they have a lot to play for. But I think Notre Dame does too. So I'm gonna ride with the Irish.
Yeah, we've seen some tight games on the road for USC. I mean, that recent one for UCLA, that was a 3-point loss. The one in Utah, that was a 1-point loss. And then 3-point win, I'm sorry, in UCLA, 1-point loss to Utah. And then we just talked about the Oregon State one. That was a 3-point loss or 3-point win as well. So now you're going to go into Notre Dame. I don't know. Let's move on now to we got Texas A&M under 18.5 team total at minus 115. Texas A&M struggled to score 20 against UMass. I don't think that LSU is going to have any problem with Texas A&M's offense. I really don't see them scoring 2 touchdowns and a field goal. I'll take that bet. So I'll take under 18.5 there. I've already rattled off Michigan, Ohio State under 57.5. So my board is clear, Cody, outside of my same game parlay. You got any other bets? I think you had one more money line bet.
Sarah, if you want to throw that up there just in case. Washington State money line against Washington. It's the late night game, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it's a 9:30 game tomorrow. They're 2-point underdogs at home against against Penix and Washington. Again, it's rivalry weekend, right? So this game's huge. I think Washington State's defense is potentially the best defense that they've had to face, or as in Washington's had to face all season. Maybe Oregon State ranks up there. But I don't know. I feel like Washington State can win this game outright just based off their defense, and we'll see. It's a little late night action that I like, but I don't know. The over under is at 60, so I feel like that is a little high, but that's just me. So, any thoughts on that?
I don't have a play. I was talking to my Uncle Mark, who's a University of Washington alum. He's talking about it being a big game, but I don't know.
It's 2 points, so like you might as well take the money line if you're gonna bet it. Like,
yeah, I think choose your team. Going into Washington State will be tough. Going up there will be a difficult one. So I don't know. I don't know if they can pull off the win in Pullman, but I think the over. I'll take it. So you said over 60.
Yeah, it's a 60. Yeah.
I think you could see 9 touchdowns. I'll take that. I could see a little bit of a 31-28 game, something in that area. I don't know if that would be even 60. No, I don't think that would. I think I just took the under about taking the over. Yeah, that's 59. So maybe take the under, folks.
Yeah, yeah. Again, like I like the under. I think it's too many points because again, I think that this is potentially the best defense that Washington's has faced all season, and Oregon State's right up there. And Oregon State hung around; they had a good chance to win that game. So again, and it's a road game. Washington's a road favorite here at plus 105. Why not? Like I'll take Washington State. I'll take Wazoo. Let's do it.
Let's go. And then my final one, I got a same game parlay tonight for the Bulls OKC game. We will have a Bulls CHGO Bulls game show for you. We got the Matt Peck, Big Dave, and good old Will Gottlieb. I just want to make sure that he's actually going to be there. Yeah. Matt, Big Dave, Will Gottlieb, Bills pregame starting at 6:30. And then they'll have the postgame show around 10 o'clock. They'll be taking on the Oklahoma City Thunder. I got Shai Gilgeous-Alexander under 30.5 points. I got our guy Ayo Dosunmu 10 plus points, and then Lugens Dort to make 1-3. Lou Dort, ASU alum. Shout out PHNX. I do think just with this Bulls, poor defensive 3-point shooting, their poor defensive ability on 3-point land. I think Lou Dort's an easy.
Say it, Sean.
I can't say it. An easy guy to make to make a bucket beyond the arc, and then Shai Gilgeous averaging 31 a night in the month of November. But the couple of games where he's gone under, he hasn't gone to the line a ton. So hopefully the Bulls don't foul. If the Bulls don't foul and send Shai to the line, they will be in good business. And who do they have on their side? The freak in Ayo Dosunmu. He's got length. He's got wingspan, folks. He doesn't need to foul. He'll get some blocks. So maybe even throw on Ayo to get some blocks as well. Yeah. Or maybe Pat Will to get some blocks. They might put Pat Will on Shai. That could be a fun matchup. So it might be fun, even though the Thunder aren't a big get. Josh Giddey's fun. Shai's fun. So definitely check out Matt, Will, and Dave on the Bulls podcast. My bad.
Yeah, Bulls are 3-point favorites on the road tonight. Coming off the huge win over the Bucks, I honestly thought they were going to get murdered by the Bucks. I was very wrong. So I guess going into this game, you're looking at it. Is this a letdown spot? I don't know. It's also a Billy Donovan revenge game. This Thunder team, like they're scrappy. They play. I don't even know what the record is. I assume they're still rebuilding. You mentioned Alexander, just the single point total for him right now. If you were to bet it, it's down to 29.5. So, people think that the under is the play there. And I kind of like that because I do like the Bulls guard defense, whether it's Dosunmu or Alex Caruso. And then Patrick Williams, they've been putting him on the team's best players. He defended Giannis as well as anyone could defend Giannis the other night. I wouldn't be surprised if Patrick Williams guards him a little bit. I like the under on him tonight. Honestly, I don't know if I'm gonna bet this game, but I kind of like taking the under on Gilgeous-Alexander. So on the point total,
fade him. Let's go Bulls. Only the Bulls.
Yeah.
Only the Bulls. All right.
And maybe take DeMar points because the guy's been insane this week.
He's been great at basketball all of his career. This is going to end the podcast. That's Cody Delmendo. You can follow him on Twitter at Cody_CHGO. I'm Sean Anderson. You can follow me on Twitter at Sean_W_Anderson. Thank you very much to Sarah for producing the show, and we will talk to you next week when we are millionaires.